Hey, everybody, and welcome to the We Don't Know Sports podcast, the second edition, technically. Hopefully, we'll see if we can get some more out there for you guys, but enjoy the show. All right, me and Canadian Biggie had a conversation for about an hour. Got dissed out by the senator and Mr. Brown. It was just a two-man show tonight, so hopefully we didn't suck too bad. But I got a feeling like we did because neither of us had anything to drink, so we just took ourselves way too seriously. But maybe there's some good insight in there, and don't let your wife order anything from Wayfair. Well, time is precious, so let's just start rolling, man. I'm going to take a small second to tell you how shitty my day's been. How about that?
Okay.
It's rained for like 3-4 straight days here, nonstop. My front yard has like a foot of water on it. It feels like my dog will not go outside to take a dump, so she ends up taking a shit in the garage because I leave the door open.
Yeah.
And the problem is it's cold enough to where the turds will freeze if I don't see it. So I can go out there and clean it up. But if I don't catch it in time, it leaves like the frozen paper thin sheet of shit frozen to the concrete that I have to get a scraper out and clean it up with.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm trying to peel stickers off the floor at the Walmart.
Stickers off the floor. That's actually a pretty good comparison.
Well, I mean, you got... not important. So anyway, there was that. Then my wife ordered some furniture on Wayfair, if you know what that is.
What's that?
Do you know what Wayfair is?
Wayfair. I've heard the... No, I don't know what it is.
Well, that's fine, because you don't have a wife to make you buy stuff off of it. It's basically like another form of IKEA, and it sucks ass, and we buy...
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we bought 2 bookshelves. I put one together. The other one's still in the box. I couldn't handle it, man. It was too much. And I'm usually like all good about putting stuff together. I'm down with it, but my God, it was a pain in the ass. It's a bookshelf. I mean, how hard... I just need to like go get a tree and cut some holes out of it and put the log up in the corner. We'll be fine. But I gotta some point get the other one put up because they go around the fireplace and you need them to mount on each side. But and then probably the reason why I was the most frustrated with that is because I had to go to the DMV to get all my stuff changed over. And so I pretty much had to pay $300 because I have a new address.
Yep.
What a crock of shit that is.
That's your government at its finest.
I would say that's providing all these wonderful, clean, paved roads we have, but I know that's not the case here.
Yeah, pothole city.
So anyway, how was youth basketball? So who's you're playing on Wednesdays, and did you coach tonight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I play state amateurs on Wednesdays, and there's a few.
That sounds serious, brother. State amateurs.
Yeah, well, you have like an upper and a lower division. We're in the lower division, but it's sketchy. You can be in the lower division if you don't have any college experience that's recorded. I mean, it's kind of, yeah.
So if you could have a ringer potentially, like a Division III player is still a college basketball player that's probably a hell of a lot better than most people.
That guy, it's not a guy you're like, geez, he should be playing. For Iowa or something like that. But you come across the guys and it's like, there's no way this guy just played high school basketball. They're really good. You'll see guys like that.
They have enough. Wait. What about this, though? It's North Dakota. So, like, if someone has a black player, are they immediately, like, suspicious?
Well,
yeah, I bet they are. They probably are. Yeah. They're like, where'd that guy come from?
Yeah. Yeah, especially in Bismarck, there's not if they're young and black and they like to run.
I think North Dakota statistically has like the third from the bottom, like lowest African American population.
Yeah, unless you're in Minot with the Air Force Base or in Fargo because of NDSU. It's a very thick German population. Very German, very Hitlerish German population. Yeah, it's a little crazy. I mean, like we're in the lower, and I mean, I'm garbage. We have a couple of good players on our team, but we'll go through our league, and it's a 15 game season. Well, 16, but it seems like 1 week always gets canceled. We end up playing 15. Anyway, we'll end up being like 7-8, 8-7, something like that. A 500 league team.
That's respectable. That's respectable.
We put up, on average, we score about 50 a game as the season goes. 40, 2 20-minute halves. But we get into the state amateur tournament, and we're in the lower, and so far in 3 years, we're 0-6, doubly eliminated each time, and we haven't lost by less than 20 points yet.
All right, so pretty much your team's folding under pressure on the big show, right?
Well, we're playing teams, and it's like there's no way they're a lower team. You play teams in our league, and we're like, oh, cool, this is going to be fun. And then you go play one game at 10 in the morning, and you get housed by like 31 points, and you have to play again at 3, and everybody just says, all right, it's time to drink and have fun.
You need
having fun in basketball.
You know what you need? You need the Bobby Knight strength shoes.
Are those the ones with the big
Yeah, I think those are the ones that would break your ankles because they had like the giant like 2x4 tied to the toes that you stood on.
I was gonna say, who had those in high school?
I thought Mike might have at one point.
Well, I'm thinking of the same but different. Ricky Cottrell.
I see your name drop there. There you go. That's almost, he almost was up in Canada. That's like Eastern Michigan is where he went to school. Maybe you could recruit him. He'd come to North Dakota and play.
Yeah, I don't know where he lives at now, but I saw a picture of him on Facebook, and he's big like me.
Yeah, wow. You need to get him in the gym, work on that cardio with you. But
yeah.
So let me ask you this: on your team, like, there's got to be at least one guy that's just god awful, like that. You're like, why are you showing up, man?
Yeah.
So you don't have to say name, you don't have to say names or anything, but just what makes him so terrible?
He doesn't understand, like basketball concepts. He's I'm gonna shoot a 3-pointer on a fast break guy.
Okay. So he understands. Like if you tell him to run a 2-3 zone, he knows what that is.
No, he's like, what? And then you get lost on it, and you try to cover his area because that's where the ball goes, and then somebody because your guy scores, and it's like, oh, I wish this fucking guy.
Yeah, you look like the asshole that's not playing defense because you got Bobby Badass over there lost in the second row of the bleachers, don't know what a 2-3 zone is.
Yeah, that always pisses you off.
It
sucks when you're out of shape because what I used to like to do, feeling like a good shooter is, come down one wing, nothing's there, set a screen, run the baseline. Well, now I'm so fat, and especially when I play a lot of minutes, I'm like resting on offense. Come down.
Yeah. I appreciate your heart being in the right place. At least you're not resting on defense.
I know, because I feel like such a turd if you rest on defense.
You're spotting up a 3 every time down because you don't want to walk that close. I'm sure your offensive rebounding statistics are phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I probably have 1 in 2 years.
Yep, there you go. He you know what? You're too old to give it up, but young enough to where you still should be out there. So you're a better man than I am because I'm not doing shit. So hats off to you. But I'm guessing that it's not as fun as softball for you right now.
No. I love basketball still, but I'm so out of shape. It's what makes it feel like work. I still love the game. Softball, having never played baseball in my life, I wish that I would have now because it's enjoyable. It's not the old man softball you're thinking about. Don't get me wrong. I'm a hack. I'm a solid hitter, but I'm no good in the field. I pitch and I catch.
Yeah, it's softball. No, we're going to move on because I don't want to talk about that anymore. That's terrible. Softball. No.
Jack, you're thinking completely wrong. Oh, okay. I'll send videos.
I bet you're going to send videos of. I bet you're going to be out there with like 6 pairs of batting gloves, and you're going to be like Willie Mays Hayes with them in the back pocket. I got one of these for every stolen base. Are you Mr. Accessories? Are you out there? Are you wearing the eye black and you got the pine tar? You got pine tar out there, and let me see what else. What else? Are you?
I wear shorts.
Vaseline under the cap, maybe.
I'm not sliding, so I wear shorts. Gets to 100 degrees. There's
the
hardcore guys. I'm not one of them.
You just painted the perfect picture. I don't need to see it now. I wear shorts. I'm not even sliding. I can tell it is an elite sporting event that probably draws how many fans?
Well, it depends. McQuaid's, you got 420. Well, last year was 442 teams. 10 guys a team. Each team usually has 20 people, so you're looking at an extra 15,000 people in town for the tournament.
Holy shit, man! That is ridiculous.
Well, trust me, I don't slide anymore. I haven't slidden in 7 years. I quit it. I gave it up. I said, "Fuck that! I'm not going that hard." Some of the other guys on my team, they're like slide into every base, get dirty, dive. I'm like, fuck that shit. You got to work tomorrow.
You got to have at least one guy on your team that slides into first base.
He doesn't anymore, but he used to.
Everybody gave him shit and he quit.
Yep.
Even Pete Rose didn't do that.
Yep.
All right. Moving on, man. Okay. We'll talk about something I want to talk to you yesterday about, and that was the Marshall plane crash. So for not everybody understands how big of a deal that is, but it was 1970, so it was almost 50 years ago, man. 2020 will be 50 years. So a couple things I was just going to throw out there. So 75 people died on that crash. Football's important, but think about the impact it had on the community too. So on that flight, 5 registered physicians also died. That was half for the entire town of Huntington at the time, had a population of 80,000 people.
Oh, crap.
So,
because when you think about it, you think about a football team and coaches, and even the movie that they made, which I felt like they did a really good job with the movie. You're not really thinking about that aspect of it. That's crazy because it affects everybody in the community more than just watching a football game on a Saturday.
Yeah. So, the movie, We Are Marshall, had a $65 million budget, only made $43 million at the box office.
Really?
Yeah. A little disappointing. It was really big for us because we kind of associated with it, but didn't do nearly as well as you thought it would.
Yeah. Well, you would think the story would have helped it sell bigger nationwide, but I guess when it's a smaller state and a smaller football program, not as many people recognize it or line up with it.
So what was his name? Jack Lingiel? Is that how you said it?
Yeah, I think.
Lingiel or Lingiel? I don't know. I can't remember. So obviously the movie wasn't that good because I would remember it from just that. But this is before our time, so I don't know the pronunciation exactly. But Jack Lingiel, I think was his name. He was 35 when he took on that job. Years later, he became the AD at Fresno, Missouri, Navy, and Colorado. So I probably venture to guess that, dealing with that type of tragedy and the leadership you would need would help prepare you for an AD role. And then the only coach he didn't survive. He wasn't on the plane. Red Dawson went to Virginia for like a recruiting trip, and he was 27 years old at the time, so he was another young guy, and he ended up quitting coaching altogether in 1972, I think. And from all accounts, everything I've ever heard about him is he lives with like tremendous survivor's guilt. I mean, how could you not, man?
How could you not? I don't know if the movie played it out completely accurate or not, but he got swapped out onto the recruiting trip for another coach who wanted to be home for something with his family, and then that happens.
I believe that. I believe that's a true story. I don't know, but I think that's true.
I don't know. To me, I think that would almost be to be expected. Survivor's guilt. I don't know how you could have that many people perish in
Oh my
in that
God.
way.
I don't. How do you even live in the same town anymore? Like I would just. How do you? Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't even begin to imagine that. Yeah, it's that's tough for him. But for the program, you know, they ended up beating Xavier the second game of the year when they started football again in '71. And then Marshall has not had a losing season since 1984.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes they're playing the, you know, Iowa School for the Deaf and the Blind, but I mean, still a win's a win. That's awesome to go almost, you know, on the brink of losing your program and then go that far and have been just a solid program as far as a mid-major college football, you know, school is.
Well, think of what they were in the '90s. They were in the '90s. Not what NDSU is now, but you know, close to it. They were playing for the D2 championship. It felt like every other year.
You may not have a Randy Moss if not for some of these guys we just talked about, because you know he lost his opportunity at Notre Dame and Florida State. And what if Marshall wasn't there? What if he wasn't on? What if he didn't get a chance to go to a school where he could be on TV and at least, I mean, he still was a Heisman finalist playing for Marshall, who at the time were just making the jump to you know, 1AA or whatever it's called back then, but FBS. So yeah, I mean that's good stuff. They got a pedigree, man. So they're home to UTSA this week. That's the University of Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners, I believe. And then is Larry Coker still the coach down there?
I'm not sure.
He probably didn't even realize he was still in the game.
He seems like he should be sitting on a front porch somewhere swinging.
Yeah, drinking a sweet tea and talking about the noisy neighbors. But anyway, they play them, then they close out against FIU, and then if Middle Tennessee happens to lose to UAB and Marshall ends up winning their games, then they'll be in the Conference USA title game. So it'll be a good story for them this year.
Speaking of UAB, that's another football program that wasn't a program and is back with a vengeance quickly.
What's that? What are they? Are they like 7-3 or 8-3 right now?
I think they're 8-2. Double check that, but they didn't have a football program 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know. When I used to play NCAA college football on Xbox, I always used UAB because they were absolutely garbage, and they played in Legion Field, which would hold like 85,000. So that was always my goal, to try to get the program good so I could, you know, compete with the Auburns and the Alabamas of the world. And they were also the Dragons or the Blazers, but their logo was a dragon. So I was like, what the hell? We'll go with that. Yeah, man, that's definitely a good story. So are you rooting for them to win their conference championship game, to be the old Conference USA champs and rise like the Phoenix back from the ashes?
Yeah, because to me, that's what's good about college athletics, because you're not hearing a lot about them. Obviously, they're not a top tier program, big time Division I, but those kids didn't have the chance to play football a couple of years ago. University basically couldn't afford a program, and now look at them. They finished this year strong, and those kids are champions for the rest of their life.
Did you see the crowd from the game they had this past weekend?
I did not.
I mean, they probably had like 30,000 people at that stadium, which is awesome for them. And you know, I think somebody made the comment to me that them shutting down the program was probably the best thing that ever happened to them.
Made people realize how much they missed it. Don't know
Yeah,
what
man.
Come on, David Moore. I need a touchdown.
Who you rooting for? Who's on your fantasy team?
Dang it. Oh,
Who let you
I have
down?
Dixon, not Moore. Dang it. 84 instead of 83. Oh, David Moore. Here's the receiver for Seattle Seahawks. Julian Edelman's on a bye this week, so I got him in. He's not having a bad game. He's got like 60 yards receiving.
He's got you a cool 5.7 points.
If he could have got a touchdown right here, that'd have been nice.
Yeah, you're gonna need that because the guy you're playing in fantasy looks like he's probably gonna beat you.
Yeah, he's gonna get his third win in his last 17 games.
That is not accurate.
For the purpose of this podcast, it is.
You're a fucking liar, and I will post pictures to prove otherwise. Yeah, all I got
pictures from this season for you.
I don't 20%. Care. No, because look, I might be in last place, but we both know I'm not going to finish in last place. And
that's Jake's spot.
And I absolutely have gotten hosed by fate and destiny this year. For whatever reason, I just bring out the best in everybody.
You know, the Patriots being on a bye week, I picked up the Bengals defense after they gave up 50 last week because that's your team. And it would be poetic if Lamar Jackson plays or RG3 because Flacco's out and your defense has 2 touchdowns somehow.
Man, so Lamar Jackson missed practice today.
Did
he? Yeah, he had a stomach bug, but Flacco's got the hip. So I mean, you're going to trot out the guy with the busted hip that you're paying way too much to be essentially Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton probably wishes he was Joe Flacco. Or do you trot out the guy that's got a little belly ache and definitely more athletic and electric and see what happens? You know, the writing on the wall for me is what you're not seeing, and this is going to exactly be the most Bengals thing ever. Hugh Jackson is now back in the fold.
I saw that special assistant or something like that.
Yes, he is the assistant to the special assistant or advisor to the head coach. I mean, I guess they got is it Jim Haslett is the guy that stepped up to he's interim defensive coordinator right now. And then, you know, they're like, we're going to bring in Hugh Jackson, you know, to help us with the defense too. And all that stuff. Hugh Jackson was always the offensive coach.
Yep.
But I don't know, like Marvin Lewis knows what the hell he's doing. I guess he does. Somehow he must have like some, you know, bad pictures of Mike Brown doing something. I don't know. We're going to lose. We're going to be by Baltimore. Both teams are terrible. Yeah, that's just we're going to make
place an egg.
We're going to make no. We're going to make Lamar Jackson look like the next big thing.
So Lamar Jackson against the Bengals defense is going to look like every backup quarterback in the history of college football against West Virginia.
Exactly. You know, they tried out there. It's like, oh my, like you'll never get over the 2000 Music City Bowl.
Well, give me a break. It's Don Nealon's last game. We're crushing him by like 32 points. They bring in Peyton Manning's little brother. He plays against a prevent defense. Game's over, and the Sports Center lead's got nothing to do with Don Nealon and his years at West Virginia and riding off with a bowl victory. It's all about Eli Manning. I've hated Eli Manning since then.
Well, hey, so if it's not Lamar Jackson, you know who took all the reps in practice today, don't you?
RG3.
RG3 and out, baby. He's back. He's active this week. So anyway, either of those, you know, Ravens fans are looking at those scenarios, probably feeling like just the sky is falling, and I'm looking at those scenarios, wondering who we're going to make look like the GOAT this week.
Well, here's the thing. If you can manage to beat Baltimore and they lose one more, for whatever reason, they think they're going to find a coach better than John Harbaugh. Maybe Marvin Lewis steps down at the end of the season and Harbaugh comes over to the Bengals just to try and stick it to the Ravens. And then you'll actually have a really, really good head coach.
Yeah, I like Harbaugh. I just, Harbaugh, the reason why people don't like him is not necessarily his fault. He's stuck on a team that's overpaying Flacco.
Yeah.
You can't overpay these quarterbacks, man, just because he won a Super Bowl. It wasn't even, I don't even want to get started on it. But yeah, I would take Harbaugh. Is he a little brother or big brother?
He is big brother, I believe.
Well, I would definitely take big brother.
No.
All right. So, and we jumped on. Go ahead.
Myers. Oh, after Urban Meyer steps down at the end of the season due to health concerns, he can go take the Ohio State job, and him and Jim can coach against each other every year.
Did you see
John seems like a fell guy to me.
Did you see the thing? The report about the I can't remember the name of the player, but there's a guy for the Buckeyes that said that God, what's his name? Zach Smith was dropping the M-bomb on him in practice.
Didn't know. Oh, I just saw like a headline about that, but that was it.
Oh, so here's the best part, man. Is this is Brett McMurphy, always cutting edge news, and I think he's the guy that broke most of this stuff to begin with. So he's all up Ohio State's ass right now. But whenever that story came out on Twitter, on Brett McMurphy's Twitter, if you go look, all these players went on and said that is so BS. That didn't happen. I know that guy. I'm best friends with him. No, and all the players. One guy was like, "Do you think if that man said that word to us, that we would have just stood there and took it?" I mean, like all the players came out of the woodwork and were like, just ripping on Brett McMurphy and calling him a sorry ass reporter and all this kind of stuff. So
I always report that has the unnamed sources. Every time I think that, or I won't reveal my source, I always think to myself that the journalist is trying to become the story.
And that's kind of what McMurphy's been lately.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he used to be like held in high regard, or am I imagining things?
No, I'm kind of on that same thought. I feel like he used to have a solid reputation to him, and now he's like the TMZ of.
That's exactly what he is. He's TMZ for college football.
Yep.
As long as he brings, I just want to see some footage of Tom Herman and Zach Smith hanging out at strip clubs.
Yep.
I hate Tom Herman.
Yeah, he is not. He's not going to be the long-term answer at Texas.
He's got him playing better.
I know, but coach at Texas when they're at their peak, one of the top 5 programs in the country, you got to kind of have balls of steel in a way. Trust in your players were better than you. When I've seen him at the end of game situations against us, and then next week against Texas Tech, he reminds me of that coach in The Waterboy.
Oh, and not Red Bull. You're talking about Henry Winkler, Coach Klein. Coach Klein.
Yeah, that's who he makes me think of. Coach, where are you going? He's that guy. He's like trying to hide his face behind his plate. He's just like pulling his hat down further over his face. And it's like, no, you can't coach like that at Texas.
Is that his halftime speech? Is he under the desk in his office crying, holding himself in a fetal position?
Good possibility.
So who you got this week in that game, man? You got big time Iowa State and Texas, right?
Yeah. I like Iowa State. I mean, I was kind of hoping that. I hope if we can beat Oklahoma State and Iowa State loses, and it assures us of a trip to Dallas, if I looked at it right. But Iowa State's program, they got off to a rough start this year and springboarded it since they beat us. Matt Campbell's a really good head coach. I don't think they're going to be able to retain him for too many more years. And then the freshman who looked like a Heisman Trophy winner against us is a pretty good quarterback.
So, I got my my pick'ems I do every week, and I'm just throwing this out there to you. The group that I do, it is the number one group on ESPN.com right now.
Nice.
Collectively, we're the smartest football minds. I don't know how I got lured into that group, but I'll take it. I did win last week, though. I won. You can win like $25 every week, and hopefully over the season. But it's like 120 people. But if you don't believe me, it's called the Gas House, and you can go find Chad the Mark on there. You can see. I'm middle of the road. But I got lucky last week.
A lot of it comes down to getting lucky. They're all educated guesses.
All right, so who you got? Texas or Iowa State? Pick a team right now.
Iowa State.
Oh, I don't know, Biggie. I got Texas at home.
Oh, I want to take Texas, and a game like that, that's kind of a pick 'em to me. Go with the home team, but I can't go with Texas after I just compared Tom Herman to Henry Winkler. So
I just feel like the refs are going to happen and it'll be a thing. And all right, now I only get 10 games I get to pick, so I only got 3 on the confidence. So if you pick Iowa State, where would you put them at on confidence points?
Probably like a 4.
Okay, so I got Texas as a 3. So I think I'm gonna keep it at Texas.
Yeah,
we'll be at odds. We can talk about that next week.
Okay.
All right, so let me give you a couple of my other games there. So obviously I got West Virginia over Oklahoma State, but I did put a 1 on the confidence point there because it seems like they win whenever I do that.
I'm not superstitious or anything. Yeah, I got West Virginia too, and I would go with I'd probably go in the 5 range for confidence points.
So only once this year, I put West Virginia as a 10 on confidence.
Really?
Yeah. What game you think it was?
Youngstown?
Iowa State. So see, it's my fault we lose.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I never thought I could control the world from my smartphone, but it's quite possible.
You can. If you piece it together right, it's all under your thumb.
Don't you feel like that sometimes?
Mm-hmm. I hate watching West Virginia play sometimes, and I hate it when I feel good about a game because I know we're going to lose. And it's all because of how confident I am. It has nothing to do with how the team plays.
I know that's why sometimes when you're texting me about how excited you are and shit, I'm just like, fucking
shut up.
Down. I don't want to hear it. Then you tell me I'm negative. Then when the game starts, I tell you you're negative and you bitch at me. So, I think we understand each other, but it's still nerve-wracking. All right. How about Virginia, 7-3 Virginia on the road at 6-4 Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I got Georgia Tech, but I put a 2 spot on it because you just never know. Sometimes that option goes, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I would go with a 2 on that too, because same thing you just said. When it's working, it's beautiful. When it's not, they're going to score 6 points.
All right, Cincinnati on the road, 9-1 Cincinnati. Go Bearcats. On the road at Central Florida. That's where game day is, right?
Yep. Bearcats pulling the upset. Luke Fickell. He going to lead them to victory.
Ooh, I'm riding UCF. I only got 4 points on it though. I'm not that confident.
Yeah, I would go in that same range for confidence if I was doing picks, or confidence level picks. I just
you think since he's going to pull the upset?
I do. UCF, they're bound to lose.
Well, I know, but until they do, I feel like I can't pick against them at this point.
Yeah. And I know they're still rolling, but I feel like the reason they were undefeated last year is the program that Scott Frost built up. And when a guy leaves, you maybe get that 1 year grace period. And after that, if the next guy doesn't add up, the program starts to falter.
I don't know. Right now, it looks like former Big 12 quarterbacks turn out to be really good
Coaches,
college coaches. Yeah.
Yep.
Josh Heupel.
Yeah. Oklahoma.
Yeah, he was.
He's a Heisman finalist, wasn't he?
He was. I was going to say he was a little stud there for a while, rocking it there in Norman.
Mid 2000s, they had like decrepit young white quarterback after decrepit.
Heupel was before Jason White, though, right?
Probably.
I think he was. I think he was the guy before
Heupel, White, Bradford.
Man, you should get Jason White out there to go run basketball with you, man. He's probably got knees like yours.
I don't know if anybody's got knees like mine.
I don't know, man. You not remember him walking around the tree trunks tied around his legs, and he couldn't run.
It was bad.
He had receivers. Just throw the ball, damn, it'll be fun.
Yep.
All right. Here's another game. I got a 5 spot on them. Hell if I know. San Diego State 7-3 on the road at Fresno 8-2.
Fresno.
Yeah, I took Fresno too. San Diego's running attack is nothing like what it was last year, so I'm like, yeah.
Oh, I like Fresno on that one.
All right. Oh, the game at Yankee Stadium, Syracuse 8-2, number 12. Notre Dame is listed as the home team, 10-0, number 3. What do you got?
I got Notre Dame. They got Ian Book back this week. To me, Winbush is solid. Ian Book is the guy that really makes them cook in a way. And I like him, and I like him at about a 7.
I got him as a 6. I got Notre Dame as well, but I hate both of these schools. I really do. But my God, I want Syracuse to win so bad.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Syracuse. It's the only reason I watch the game. Is it close? They win. I want them to win. Notre Dame needs to lose. Other things need to happen, but I can't let wanting Notre Dame to lose get in the way. That I feel Syracuse has had a really good season. They're going to continue to build into a good program. Year 3 under their coach. Look what they've done. Last couple close games this year, pissed away against Pitt. Could have beat Clemson. Notre Dame wins. They go to USC last game of the year undefeated.
What about do you buy the uniform karma at all? Is that ever a thing you think about?
When it's us, yeah. When it's somebody else, it doesn't
matter. Have you seen these uniforms?
I've not seen them. Brian Kelly was on Rich Eisen or Dan Patrick, one of the shows I was listening to today, and they're doing some type of pinstripe thing for the Notre Dame uniform.
Yeah, I saw it at the beginning of the year. It was. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick. I will do my best to describe it to you. Oh, here we go. Maybe no. God, I hate the internet. There's too much crap on here. All right, so they almost look like they're black, like
they look like the Steelers Bumblebee uniforms.
No. God, those are the worst damn things. No, but it looks like they're wearing black hats. They got white sleeves, and there's pinstripes on the sleeves, and I think they're pinstripe pants. But it's just they're just rocking pinstripes for no reason other than the fact they're playing in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. I don't like it.
But you're still sticking with Notre Dame though, right?
Yep.
All right. Oh, all right. How about the Fighting Herm Edwards on the road at the Autzen Zoo? They're both 6-4.
You know what the spread on the game is?
I have no idea. This is a straight up pick 'em.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Herms.
See, I got the Ducks, and I got 7 points on it.
Really?
I don't think the Fighting Herm Edwards are going to go up to the Autzen Zoo and react well.
Well, this would be my 1-pointer on ASU. I'm picking this one based off the fact that I really like Herm Edwards, and I don't think that either team is as good as what they were. Arizona State's about what I kind of thought they would be in Herm Edwards' first year. They'll make a bowl game. Oregon, they were ranked. Quarterback's supposed to be a good NFL prospect, but somehow they find a way to lose games. I don't know what it is.
Well, I'm taking them at home. I'm fairly certain in that pick.
What do you like, a 9?
I got it a 7. I'll give you my 9 here in a second. All right, then you got UAB. They're 9-1, so we were way off earlier.
We had them at what, 8-2?
Yeah, they're 9-1 though, and they're on the road going to College Station to play the Aggies.
Oh, it's a game that Texas A&M should win.
Yep, I got Texas A&M, and I got them at 8 points on it too.
Yeah, I would lean really heavy Texas A&M at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the team that just went to double overtime against Southern Miss getting it done in College Station, but man, it would be a hell of a story. All right, so
at Oliver. Apparently Houston was playing. Wow.
What is it?
Ed Oliver flipped out on his head coach when he was told to take his jacket off on the sideline because he wasn't playing in the game. AJ Applewhite told him to take his jacket off. Only players in the game were allowed to wear the Houston football weather jacket. Applewhite came over and actually started to undress him, and then they had to be separated.
Wow.
It's a developing story.
So what was it like? One of the big jackets they wear over the top of their pads and everything?
Yeah, and he had it on. It was a black coat, said Houston football on it, and apparently only players playing in the game were allowed to wear them. And he's not playing, wasn't suited up. So the video I just watched, Applewhite comes over and hey, takes it off the shoulder a little bit. Not allowed to wear this, and didn't seem like it was going to be too bad. And then a few seconds go by, and Ed Oliver's just screaming at him.
So how many guys said something to him before Applewhite got involved, do you think?
I'm betting at least 2.
Because, I mean, I can't imagine the head coach has nothing else better to do than to go to his star defensive player and be like, take that damn jacket off, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of those where I'm a top 10 NFL pick. I'll do whatever I want. Well, Coach said those are only supposed to be worn by the guys that are playing tonight. Yeah, I don't care what Coach said. I'm a top 10 NFL pick. By the time Coach finds out he's still got the damn jacket on, he's freaking pissed because one of his players isn't listening because he thinks he's bigger than the rest of the team.
Well, he can discipline that. He might be a top 10 pick, but you know what? Not everybody's Nick Saban, though.
Yeah. You know, if you want to listen to a really good press conference from a coach who's in charge, you should listen to Nick Saban's from today.
Good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it. I like it a lot. There's a lot more to it than this, but one of the things that he ended it with was how he said, there's guys on my staff who have opinions, and I tell them if that's how you want to do things, you go get a head job and you do it that way. As long as you're here, we'll do it my way because I'm running this program.
Well, that's what Lane Kiffin did.
Yeah, and what's funny is that it was on Rich Eisen, and as soon as it got done playing, Rich goes, and that's how Lane Kiffin found a job at FAU.
How's he doing this year? Their team's not too hot, is it?
No, not the 9-10-1 program, 11-1 program, whatever it was last year.
They were supposed to be.
They had no right to win.
Yeah, they were supposed to be an offensive juggernaut, right?
Yep.
All right, I got two more picks, man. I got Utah on the road at Colorado.
I'll take the Utes. Colorado's really falling apart since a good start to the season. Have they not won a game since they started 5-0?
They are 5-5.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. So I got 9 points on that one.
Yeah, I would go 9 or 10.
I got 10 points on Kentucky over Middle Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, if I go 10 there.
All right. And if you had to pick a final score on Notre Dame, Syracuse, what you got?
I got Notre Dame 27-17.
Ooh, I have the same margin, but I'm 10 points higher. I got 37-27.
Okay. Are you a fan of the college football games played at baseball stadiums? They've done it at Fenway, Yankee Stadium, and Wrigley Field.
Who played at Fenway?
Wasn't it Notre Dame and Boston College like last year or the year before?
God, I didn't think all right. So one, no, I'm not really a fan of it. I love college atmosphere. Don't like it's one thing like the Cactus Bowl out west where you're playing like that one doesn't bother me as much because it's a bowl game and the bowl games are stupid most of the time. But man, don't. I don't like I have a hard enough time with the neutral site games, and I get why they do them because of the money and it's a primetime game, blah 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 that stuff. But baseball, like man, I remember the first game played at Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium as a football game. I believe we were a part of it, and that was against Syracuse in that stupid bowl, and it snowed, and we got our ass whipped.
Yep. That was Geno Smith's last game.
Yep, and that was but maybe that's why I hate him. I don't know, but I don't like the baseball setup. Like I think it's cool when like the hockey teams play outside on New Year's Day or Christmas Day or whatever it is. Like that's cool. Yeah, that's different. But
that's freaking awesome.
But no, don't play in baseball games. That's don't play in baseball stadiums. I don't like that.
Well, if I agree, but you're going to continue to see it in college football because Notre Dame's an independent and they can do it, so they can play at Wrigley against Northwestern, BC, Syracuse. It's something. It's flexibility that Notre Dame has that other schools don't.
You wanna hit the playoffs here real quick? Talk about the rankings.
We can, although the conversation we have right now could have been played last week, and it could probably be played again next week because
you only got one matchup, Syracuse and Notre Dame. That's like ranked, right?
Yeah. Other than that, Alabama plays. No, they don't. I thought Alabama. That was last week. Mississippi State.
All right. Well, here I'm gonna run them down. I'm gonna run them down to you. I'm gonna tell you what's going on. You tell me what your predictions are. Okay.
All right.
All right. So I think we can probably agree there's only 10 teams that have a legitimate shot to make the Final Four. And I'm just going to go down through here. Starting with Washington State. It's the great hope of the Pac-12. They're playing Arizona. Arizona beat Washington State by 3 touchdowns last year. And then they play at Washington next week in the Apple Cup. They should get into the title game against Utah, Arizona State, Arizona, or somehow even USC, all alive in the horrendous Pac-12 South. So what do you they gonna win out? They gonna split? What do you think?
I think they win this week and they lose the Apple Bowl next week.
I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
All right. So Washington State's out. LSU has 2 losses. They are 7th, I think, still by the playoff committee. They got they got a tough game to close out the year at Texas A&M, and they're not going to get into the title game no matter what. But man, they got a tough test this week. They have the home game against Rice.
Yeah, this weekend, I'm not sure that they'll be able to squeak by. It's a typical SEC Buttercup game before the final game of the year. That's actually the tough one. I think that obviously they're going to win this week. I think that they lose that last game of the year and they finish the year at like 8-3.
I think they win both, but I think because they're not going to play in the title game for the SEC, it's going to keep them out.
Yeah.
I think what will happen is all the other teams around them can rise while they can't.
Are they still at 7 because of how highly the committee thinks of Alabama? Because they got smoked in that game.
LSU does have the strongest strength of schedule in the country.
Yeah.
So, all right, now we got 2 that are kind of intertwined. WVU, we're on the road at Oklahoma State, then at home to Oklahoma. And then Oklahoma, home to Kansas, then at West Virginia. And like we talked about earlier, you got Texas and Iowa State on the side, and that's pretty much an elimination game for one of those. So what do you see playing out here in the Big 12?
Well, West Virginia and Oklahoma both roll into that game day after Thanksgiving with 1 loss. And do believe this will be the year West Virginia plays their way into the Big 12 championship game. I got Iowa State eliminating Texas this weekend. I think that Oklahoma and West Virginia are going to show what a Big 12 championship game can look like for many years to come, where they play each other in the last week of the regular season and then again in the championship game.
So, but if so the only way Iowa State gets in is if we lose to Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, right?
And they went out, correct?
Right. Okay. All right. So you're predicting West Virginia wins out, and then they play Oklahoma in the title game?
Yeah. I say that we play Oklahoma back-to-back weeks. Once in Morgantown, once in Dallas. We win the first one and lose the second one.
All right. So we're saying Oklahoma and WVU are out of the playoff.
Yep.
All right. Ohio State is at Maryland, then home to Michigan.
They're going to trounce Maryland, and then this is the year that Michigan and Harbaugh get him. He's got a quarterback. They're rolling with Shea Patterson. Michigan wins that game in the Big Ten title game and makes it into the playoff.
Yeah, so Michigan plays Indiana, and then we're saying they're going to go on the road and beat Buckeyes. Yep. And then they'll end up playing a 4-loss minimum Northwestern team in the so Michigan, you got them locked in for a final spot.
Yeah.
All right, so there's one. All right, Notre Dame, Syracuse, Yankee Stadium, and then at USC.
As much as I hate having to say this, I think that Notre Dame's going to win both those games.
I'm with you. All right, so Notre Dame's a lock. All right, Clemson, they got Duke at home, then they have South Carolina at home.
South Carolina. The only way Clemson loses is with Kelly Bryant having transferred if Trevor Lawrence gets injured and is out of the game for an entire game or most of the game. Otherwise, they win out.
All right, so they're probably going to play Pitt because I think Pitt closes out with Wake Forest and Miami, or they could end up playing Virginia, who plays Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. So either way, they're not playing a juggernaut here in the title game.
No, I got Clemson locked into a playoff spot, barring injury to Lawrence.
All right. And then Georgia's already locked into the SEC title game. They got a tough game against UMass and then Georgia Tech, both at home. And then another game at home, essentially, when they get Alabama coming.
Yeah. They'll win against UMass and Georgia Tech, and they will lose in the SEC title game, which will knock them out of any playoff consideration. Georgia's really good, but I've told you this before, barring a significant, injury to Tua where he's done, this Alabama team's the greatest one-season college football team. It's amazing how good they are.
So when Alabama loses to the Citadel this week, but wins their remaining games, are they still in?
Yes. Alabama can lose one game and still get in.
Even if it's to the Citadel.
Maybe not the Citadel.
That's a real school. I didn't make it up. That's who they play this week.
Citadel, spelled with a C. Yeah.
It's not Citadel. It's the Citadel, like the Ohio State. It's the Citadel.
Don't you kind of feel like Alabama's that team that they win this weekend, they win the Iron Bowl, they make it to the SEC title game, and Georgia beats them? Well, that doesn't suck for Alabama. They're still in the playoff. There's no way they're out of it. But now Georgia just the spot of Michigan or Notre Dame. And since Notre Dame's going to be under,
I think it'd have to put Michigan out, right?
Yep.
All right, so looks like we're pretty much though agreeing on Michigan, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Alabama at this point.
Yeah, and I think that Alabama and Clemson are 1-2, and then Notre Dame, Michigan, however they decided 3-4. I don't know. You get this far into the season, and usually you think there's an upset coming here or there, but Alabama is so good this year. Michigan, I think the one kind of wrench in what we were just talking about is, could Michigan easily go into the shoe and lose? Yes. Would that automatically jump Ohio State from a 9 or 10 spot in the rankings up to number 4? No. I think that if Michigan loses to Ohio State, there's a good chance that Georgia and Alabama both end up in the playoff.
Oh, I hope it doesn't happen. They should not let 2 from the same conference in.
When you're only allowing 4. So that's why I think that I like the playoff, and it's good at 4. But when you have really dominant programs from the same conference, which you're going to continue to have, Kirby Smart's really good. If you just had a system where what you call the Power 5, each conference champion got represented, well, you could have 8 teams. You could play your first round of games before Christmas and then play your second set like you've been doing. It wouldn't, no kids missing any classes and da-da-da.
We'll get there.
Hey, like, when's the last time a Pac-12 team, last year Washington or the year before?
2 years ago.
Okay, and is that the only year that a Pac-12 team has been in?
No, Oregon was.
Oregon, and they were, against Ohio State. So this is what, year 5 of the playoff?
Yeah.
So in year 5 of the playoff, you're going to likely have one of your Power 5 conferences that's only been in it twice. While you have SEC that's had 2 teams in it twice.
Yeah, I would like to think that some of the conferences can't be too happy about that.
I just, and you can't blame Alabama for being good. I don't know. I look at it like a couple of years ago where USC crappy at the beginning of the year. All of a sudden they start Darnold and they're rolling at the end of the year. Yeah, they got 3 losses, but they win their conference. So instead of playing in the Rose Bowl, how about they play in the Rose Bowl as part of an 18 playoff where they're rolling? Like, who would have complained if you'd got all the way to the end of it and you'd have had 11-3 USC against, 1 loss in Alabama? Everybody would have been happy. Oh, 3 losses. Well, they won their conference.
No, so we definitely need change with the way the playoff structure is. I'd be fine with anything except 4 right now. I'd almost even rather go back to the damn BCS than what they have right now. I know just because I want the expanded playoff so much more.
Yeah, not as big as you are on how far it expands. I think 8's perfect. Because at 8, you could have all 5 Power 5s represented in Notre Dame. So there's 6 brand names almost every year and 2 more.
Well, then you're still counting on the committee to put Central Florida in there, who they only have at number 11 right now.
Yeah. I don't know.
They'd have to put some
smaller
rules
schools
in.
are tough for me because I think Central Florida last year, well, maybe this year too. Maybe they're that program that made a difference because they were able to beat Auburn last year. But how many times do you see, like in the BCS era, where you'd have that smaller school that would make it to the bigger bowl game and they'd get housed by like a Baylor?
Well, that was
good, but not great.
Well, that's because Baylor was used to playing those crappy schools. That's how their non-conference schedule goes.
Yeah.
Well, look, this is the only reason why I would want it is if you were in the American Athletic Conference and you knew that once a year or every year one team would get an opportunity to go play the big boys for a chance at the whole thing, that's got to help recruiting, right? Because then if you're like Central Florida and you've established this little mini dynasty down there at the lower level, man, you might start swinging some recruits because they know they're going to be on TV in January and it's going to mean something that, we play for championships. You come here and you're going to have that opportunity. And even your smaller school, like they might be able to swing just a couple recruits where it might make all the difference in the world. And that's what I would like, because it would give you a little bit more parity and hopefully it would help some of these really struggling athletic programs out there. Like, if Miami, Ohio is struggling to put 10,000 people in the seats, but they're playing Northern Illinois, who happens to have won the past couple, MAC championships. And now all of a sudden they've been recruiting and they got some studs, man. People just might want to go see them. Like I know it was that way whenever we talked about Randy Moss earlier, when he was at Marshall and Chad Pennington was there and Doug Chapman was there. When they would go play all these teams, man, they were like the Yankees. We're going to sell out just because that team's coming. And if maybe I'm definitely wishful thinking there, but I love parity. I like the opportunity for the have-nots to have a little bit more from the haves.
Mm-hmm. No, you have some wishful thinking there, but what you would have is you'd have one coach whose ingenuity, he'd be able to take guys who were, say, 3 or 4-star recruits, or maybe a 5-star who was like a Randy Moss and blew a couple of scholarships, and all of a sudden he's playing there. He's going to become that school where all the super talented guys with a few problems go to play, and he's going to be a top 10 program. He's going to play a bunch of teams within his conference, couple cupcakes, but he's going to be able to get into the playoff once every 3 years. And kind of like you were saying, you would end up with a mid-major program that would be the U. We'll take anyone. If you can play ball, you come here. We don't care what off the field problems. We don't care if you can't make your grades. We'll have somebody else do the work for you. We're going to run it dirty, but that's fine, because guess what? We're South Florida, and we're going to the college football playoff. We're
That's
Appalachian State. We beat
oh
Michigan in the
man.
Big House years ago. Now we're playing them in the playoff.
And that's what you want to see, man. I know you can't replicate March Madness with this, but man, we got to be able to get something special. And you can't tell me it hurts the regular season because it's still all about winning that conference championship. It's not like college basketball where you don't have to win the conference championship because, the Big East used to put 12 teams out of the conference in it back in the day. It still would be an excellent regular season, and it wouldn't hurt that much. You still have the rivalries. College football is too good to have an expanded format where you establish a more clear winner based off the entire body of work. I don't see how that hurts the product.
No, I don't either. I think that eight's the perfect number at 8 because I hear some people like when Rich Eisen's on, he's talking about how the conference playoff or the conference championship games, all they do is line people's pockets. There's no purpose for them. Well, there is a purpose, really, even now, because they're play-in games for like a Georgia becomes that way. My point being, if you go to 8, that conference championship game, which is lining people's pockets now, probably does even more and becomes just as important, if not more important, because Scott Frost is at Nebraska. He builds that program back up. Now you got 10-2 Nebraska versus 11-1 Ohio State and the winners in the college football playoff. That's a big time game.
Well, I mean, and we'll do it when we get at the end of the year, but we'll take the final rankings and we'll make a playoff and we'll see what those first round matchups look like and have some fun with it, and we'll see if we can predict some winners there. But is Tua's got the Heisman, right?
Can you win the Heisman when you've thrown single digit fourth quarter passes? Is there a drawback to being that dominant?
2,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 68% completion percentage, and a QBR of 95.8.
God, that's good.
How many rushing yards do you think he has?
Doesn't seem like he runs a whole lot. Could be wrong. I'll say he's got 200 yards rushing.
Yeah, not even 148.
Okay.
All right, so Kyler Murray, right behind him, almost identical QBR. Kyler Murray's 32 touchdowns and 5 picks.
Yeah.
And 640 yards rushing and 7 rushing touchdowns.
Those are good numbers.
Yep. Yeah, I think I think those are the two. It's going to be one of them. You got Will Greer and Gardner Minshew out there. Which one's going to get invited to New York with them?
Will Greer, that's what I was going to say. We're going to invite 3 or 4 for the Heisman. 3?
I feel like they've only done. Sometimes it depends on how many votes they get or something like that. But the last couple of years, it's been 3.
Yeah, I think Greer, Murray, and Tua get the invite. Tua wins.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Although I think the 2019 Heisman winner is going to be Trevor Lawrence.
The hype train's already started, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So how many rushing yards does Will Greer have this year? Do you know?
Oof. 212.
Negative 63.
Okay.
I think probably most of those.
When you said that, I thought to myself, he never runs. And then the vision of him running for that 2-point conversion against Texas popped in my head. And I was like, oh, that's right. He runs all the time.
Oh, yeah, backwards and out of bounds when he plays Iowa State.
Well, I was going to say he probably lost 67 yards against Iowa State.
I got a couple more things I want to hit you with, man. We were talking last night. They moved the game to L.A. tonight. But this is my question: what's worse, London or Mexico?
Mexico.
Why do they play there?
So, like, to me, the Mexico location, if it was the Wembley Stadium setup, that infrastructure and surroundings would be good because it's not, we're still attached to it kind of thing. It's not a 15-hour flight. But I can remember this from when the Patriots played the Raiders there. It was last year or the year before. The last, God, I want to say they played 3 games, or they played a game there for each of the last 3 years. It seems like the field down there is always horrible, and there's always some weird thing where there's like laser pointers from field fans in the stands, and it's if I was an NFL player, I wouldn't want to go down to Mexico and play.
I'm just wondering what's in it for the NFL. Are they making that much money off playing a game down there? I mean, is this like WWE going to Saudi Arabia and sacrificing all their personal interests just to make some money?
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
I like how the WWE goes to Saudi Arabia when they they got a pay-per-view where it's all women. They've come so far. Women, they're headlining it. They're not divas anymore. And you go to Saudi Arabia for a good pay-per-view. Like, are you?
Yeah. But you know how they spin it though. You know, that's we're helping progress. We're going to, and wouldn't that be the shit?
Yeah.
Like wrestling is what brings Saudi Arabia into the Western world. First the women were driving. Now they're doing pile drivers. I will say this though, Becky Lynch. Yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah, you like her?
She's my firecracker right there. I like her. I like some Alexa Bliss too, but I'll go with Becky.
I like Alexa Bliss. She got things going for her.
Hey, what'd you think about Le'Veon Bell not answering Big Ben back?
I think that Le'Veon Bell got the feeling, a month into the season, month and a half, that he wasn't really very welcomed there anymore because his teammates felt like they were letting him down. And then from that point on, he was just distancing himself from the situation or anyone involved.
Has anybody else ever done what he did this year? Like Marshawn Lynch retired and then came back, but I mean, like who went into the beginning of the year and said, you know what, don't sign me to a long-term deal and watch what happens, and then actually stuck to it.
Yeah, no, he's the first guy that I can ever remember. You know what though? He overplayed his hand. And he overplayed his hand not so much in what he did, but in how well James Conner played with that offense.
Yes,
because if I'm a GM, I'm looking at it, I'm like, all right, Le'Veon Bell, yeah, he's really good, and he can play as much slot receiver as he does running back for me, but James Conner stepped in to that offense and ran for, by the time the year is over, 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. So now why is it that I'm guaranteeing a guy who just sat out on his team for an entire season, a team that had a chance to win a Super Bowl, I'm guaranteeing him $45 million?
He left 14 and a half on the table.
He's never making that money up because the best contract he'll see this offseason is what Todd Gurley got. And that's not, he could have got that anyway from another team. He just wasn't getting it from the Steelers.
Well, unless he got hurt.
Yeah.
But all right, so he's healthy. Let's say he's healthy. Let's say he stays in shape and all that kind of stuff. Is he even going to get Gurley money?
I don't know. Because Gurley's 4 years younger than he is. That's why you give Gurley that money.
Yeah.
And the Rams were smart. They saw how it was playing out. And they said, hey, how about we just go ahead and pay Todd Gurley right now?
Don't pay somebody else money for what they've already earned.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen. So I think he's going to the Ravens.
Yeah, that would be where I could see him going, because I could see him wanting to stick it to the Steelers. Ravens have the money. The other teams that I've heard with the cap space are Jets, Colts, Raiders. But the Raiders ain't spending money on a running back.
Well, speaking of the Raiders, another situation or story that came out of the Steelers was Switzer up there that they got from the Raiders. Talked about how he was so happy that he wasn't in Oakland anymore, and he was so thankful to be a part of an organization that actually wins. So. Well, hey, then you had Bruce Irvin did the same thing. Did you see the Bruce Irvin video in Atlanta where he's, I'm free, I'm free?
No, I did not see that video.
Oh.
That Bruce Irvin, I don't care. He played at West Virginia. He turned down more money from the Patriots just to go play for his hometown team. I mean, who does that in this day and age?
That's the same guy that gave $100,000 back to the school that he went to. I mean, he's a good dude, man. But I thought him screaming, I'm free was funny. Then you had DRC, Cromartie retired up there. But Gruden is coming out saying that people are calling him every day. They're dying to play for the Oakland Raiders.
Should have seen this coming from Gruden, really. If you think about it, the Raiders as a franchise are more cash-strapped than any other franchise out there. They need to get to Vegas with young talent that's controllable for 3, 4, 5 years at a good rate. Once that stadium is built, it's like a license to print their own money.
So you know what their cap space is next year?
Well, with all the guys they've traded, I don't know. Don't they have a lot of dead money on their roster?
Oh, they have $75.2 million in cap space next year.
Nice.
Huh. So maybe that rebuild won't take as long as we thought. But I don't know, man. After you get rid I don't know, man. There's going to be some free agents that are like, I ain't going out there. I see how he if he didn't even want Khalil Mack, what the hell are they going to do with me? I need guaranteed money.
Yeah. Let's see how it plays out. TCU is a ranked basketball program. Look at Dixon doing work.
Oh, that's it, man. I don't hate him as bad now for some reason.
Huh. What's that?
I said I don't hate Jamie Dixon as bad now for some reason.
Yep.
Man, the Mountaineers didn't look good tonight either, did they?
They ended up winning by about 20, but that first half was a struggle. You know that they didn't come out for the second half, for the opening of the second half, until about 90 seconds before inbounds. But typically, you're out there, your layup lines and whatnot. Huggins was peeling paint off walls, and they came out and they had this spurt in the second half that really impressed me, where they actually played some defense and moved the ball a little bit. We're I don't know. We're a guessing game right now. I mean, we've only played 2 games.
You know what he's saying though, right? What the problem is?
Well, they're turning the ball over too much for one.
He said we don't have anybody that's hard nosed.
Yeah,
I can't talk like Huggins. We need some people that put some effort out there. Guys like Javon Carter and all those guys. You think Javon Carter would have given up 40 points to that guy the other night from Buffalo? And trust me, he's a good player, but Javon wouldn't have given up no 40 points.
Yeah. I'll work on the Huggins. It's better than mine though, so I can't say anything. I'll say this. Beetle Bolin in the second half impressed me. In the first 3 halves of basketball, I was not impressed with him this year because I expect him as a junior playing behind Carter and Miles to have a little bit more of a leadership role. In the second half, he impressed me. I tell you one thing though, Derek Culver's never going to play a minute for West Virginia, is he?
It doesn't look like it, does it?
Oh, it sucks. An athletic, big, everything I've read up on him, the little bit of film that I've seen on him, highlights and whatnot, he could have been a good player for us. And I'm saying he could have been, and we're 2 games in, but he gives me that Teddy feeling from last year. Good, talented guy, but he plays by his own set of rules, and that's just not going to work for us, which some people are like, well, you got to play the talented guys. Well, every time a scandal breaks in college basketball, I know it doesn't involve West Virginia because we got Bobby Hull.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
You're damn right about that. And you know what? For all the transfers and things like that have gone on, I think we still seem to be just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what I'm waiting to see, and this is going to be 8, 10, 12 games into the season, I think that McCabe, I've been watching him for 4 years because he's out of Wisconsin, so I'd see buddies of mine sharing his videos. If he can kind of put it together just a little bit, he has the potential to be a really good backcourt player. Like I think he had 9 points in 16 minutes tonight. He's a knockdown shooter, a good passer, but he thinks he's a better passer than he is, a little flamboyant. Needs to be a little more committed on defense. Well, a lot more committed on defense.
He's White Chocolate 2.0, man.
That's what he reminds me of. I feel like he could be a good play for us. Out of our backcourt, Chase Harler got like 33 minutes tonight. I don't know. I like Chase, but I don't know what the angle is there.
Well, they said he's gotten a lot better since last year, but I've yet to see it. But apparently he spent some time over in China playing a lot.
Well, I mean, we'll see. And here's the thing. We're 80 minutes into the season, 85 actually.
Oh, the sky is falling.
Yeah. The thing I'm most disappointed about is that we lose to Buffalo. We're ranked 13th. We lose by 5 in overtime to a team that was in the tournament last year and will be in the tournament again this year. And we drop all the way out of the rankings. Like, do we have no respect as a program nationally?
But the basketball rankings, though, they move up and down so much more fluidly. I mean, it's not like they're married to the rankings and it's like, oh, they lost, we're only dropping them. What? No, you lost to an unranked team. Go ahead and drop out. You win a couple games, they'll come back in.
Yeah, that is how it works. Hey, team on college basketball landscape to watch this year, UConn Huskies with Danny Hurley. They're going to be good.
You think so?
They're going to fight you tooth and nail, claw, grit. I just bring that up because he built the Buffalo program up, who we were just talking about, and then he went to, and I'm drawing a blank where he was last year, and now he took the UConn job. They're in Davidson's conference.
Do you think? You think UConn's? I mean, I feel like when Calhoun was there, man, they were legit. They were like one of those teams that you almost muttered in the same breath as a Duke and North Carolina and Kentucky and UConn. They're right there in that. But I know Kevin Ollie won a title, but then they were just like,
yeah, Kevin Ollie. Yeah, it's tough to be the guy after the guy. Now Hurley's the next guy, and I think he's the right fit for the program. And I think that UConn can be a top 25 every year basketball program like they were for years and years. I really like him as a coach. I'm just bringing that up because we were talking about Buffalo, and that's where he started at, and that's where he had Bobby working for him. I like him as a coach, and I think that UConn will be up and down this year, but he's going to build that program nicely.
Well, I will watch them from afar and see if you're right.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I mean, I know who he is, but I can't say that I'm that convinced to be anywhere close to what you just said.
No, I'm a big believer in his. Haven't paid attention to him like a dork for a few years because I watched too much college basketball. I think he's the right guy, right fit for the job. He's recruited in that region for a while. He's a well-known name. He's a good fit. Speaking of Jim Calhoun, he's coaching Division III basketball now.
Yeah, something like that. I remember, like, just because he was bored and wanted to do it.
Yep, basically. Yeah. For the love of the game.
You're not taking a shit while we're talking, are you?
No, I walked in there and I was like, oh, crap, we're still on this thing. I got to wait.
I was going to say, if I start hearing an echo real bad, I'll know what's going on. Well, I gotta probably call it a night here soon too. But let me ask you this, just real quick: NFL MVP, who you got?
Well, to me, it's Todd Gurley, but since a running back apparently is not allowed to win the award, I'll take Pat Mahomes.
It's going to be one or the other, isn't it?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of push this year for Breeze, but I don't know. Mahomes is a game changer, and I think Gurley's the best player in the league. But the running backs just don't win the award for whatever reason. It's always the quarterback.
Well, it's because the quarterback distributes the ball to all those people, so they look like they're the game manager, even though Todd Gurley's going to probably have over 20 touchdowns, and I don't know how many yards he's going to end up getting. I mean, he'll be close to 2,000.
Yeah,
he'll go over 2,000 total yards.
There's a chance. I'd say it's like 60-40 in favor of what happened, and that Todd Gurley breaks LT single season touchdown mark of 31 TDs.
He's at 16 right now, I think.
Yep, and they're at what? They're 8-1.
He's a game behind pace.
Yeah, but they're gonna play the shitty Niners.
Well, and they lost Cooper
Cardinals.
Kupp, man. So Cooper Kupp's not going to be out there taking touchdowns.
Yeah, well, that could help him in the touchdown area, but Cooper Kupp did a ton for that team. Other than receiver, he was their best blocking wide receiver too.
Hell yeah, he was. He was balling out there.
Yeah. Trying to put a dent in my four-peat with all these freaking season-ending injuries.
Oh, it ain't happening, man. Ain't gonna happen. All right, hey, I'll leave you with this. I want you to guess the jock we're talking about. NFL MVPs. So I got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got like 15 items I can go through. How many things do you think you can name it in?
NFL MVPs.
It's a one guy you got to name. It's a former NFL MVP. How many stat lines or information lines do you think you'll need?
4.
4. All right. 5'11", 228 pounds.
Okay.
So that only played for 2 teams.
Well, Danny and Tomlinson.
No. He is a 3-time Pro Bowler.
He's got to be a running back.
Yep. His career rushing yards are 9,453. I'll keep going. You did not get it in 4 lines. 2-time All-Pro, 2-time rushing touchdown leader. He was on the NFL's 2000s All-Decade team.
2000s All-Decade team.
Had a career of 9,453 rushing yards, 4.3 average yards per carry, and had 100 rushing touchdowns. So he's like 36th or something like that when it comes to rushing yards all time. But he's number 4 or 5 when it comes to rushing touchdowns. A little bit of a threat out of the backfield, 215 receptions, 1,500 yards. He was drafted in 2000 and retired in 2008. I have given you everything I got except for who he is.
Who is he?
Oh, he was drafted by NFC team. He played in one Super Bowl, did not win.
Oh my God.
Oh, if I told you I wanted the ball because we're going to score, would that help?
Yeah, I know. About 5-6 clues in, I thought it was Sean Alexander, and I thought, no, it's not, because I didn't think that he had that many career rushing touchdowns.
100. Holy shit. And how come you didn't just guess it? I mean, it's better than sitting there being all quiet like a moron and drool coming out of your mouth. At least there are guess out there.
You did the first 4 or whatever, we're off, and then you said 1 or 2 more, and I was like, oh, fuck, it's Sean Alexander. And I thought, no, there's no fucking way. Because in my memory bank, Sean Alexander was a great back for like 3 years. And
well, he was. I see. I was the opposite. I was like, there's no way he only went to 3 Pro Bowls.
I just remember him being a blow-up fantasy player.
He only played for 8 years, but from like 2000 to 2005, man, he had the Madden curse though, didn't he? Wasn't he on the Madden cover and then like blew his knee out the next year?
Could be.
I think he was one of the Madden curse victims. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, they say it still is, but the last one they had was Tom Brady and they did a GOAT edition cover, and he won NFL MVP and threw for 500 yards in the Super Bowl. So that broke the curse in my book. Fuck, I'm pretty disappointed. I'm usually pretty good at knowing who's who.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd get through all my stats before you guessed it. So, yeah, man, that was a flash in the pan. So he played for Seattle, obviously. Who was his other team?
Yeah, when you said 2 teams, it threw me off because I only remember him playing for Seattle.
He played for the Redskins. He ended up losing his job to Liddell Betts.
That's when you know it's time to retire.
It's time to cash in your chips, brother. So what are you doing this weekend, man? What you got going on with the kids? Anything fun?
Hit the Y tomorrow night. Saturday is basketball. Lucas got a big game at 10 in the morning. Team's really coming along. Lost a buzzer beater last week. Hopefully it's not that close again. Saturday afternoon, got Mountaineers football. And, we got a snowstorm coming through too, so we'll see.
All right, we'll keep your phone and we'll text during game day and see how that ends up rolling for us. But yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I ain't got much going on this weekend. I'll be watching a lot of football and probably drinking a lot of beer.
Yeah, you got to prep for Thanksgiving weekend. This is a prep weekend.
It is. It's a primer. It's just get a little bit lit. Don't go crazy, but get ready.
Yep, I agree.
All right, brother. I will holler at you, man.
Later, buddy.
Later.